Hello everyone. Hello everyone, and thank you for participating in this stream. Today is 29th of December. Now it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and well, this is a traditional Sunday community chat live stream, and yet again, many thanks to you all for your attention. And many thanks to all the members of our community who will watch this live stream, later on in a recording. And so let's start. As always, dear friends, I will monitor chat. I will monitor donation alerts. If any questions on donation alerts or on PayPal or Boost. No, Boosty I cannot monitor during the live, but if any question on PayPal or donation alerts or Boosty even, I will try to answer, of course. And also I will monitor chat if any questions there. Of course, I will try to be as informative as I can. So I try to make some nice atmosphere, New Year's atmosphere with this jumper and a New Year's stream. And so let's start, dear friends. Sorry, I'm always a little nervous whenever I'm doing live streams. So sorry if I will be a little chaotic, but well, let's start. And I'm gonna start, dear friends, with the questions that I receive on a Patreon from member of our community. So this is the questions. Yaroslav Pelechek asked her greetings and happened her. Well, it is difficult to know for sure, right? Until investigation will be conducted and we will learn some more about her situation. But as I reported in this morning's update, Russian President Vladimir Putin apologized to Azerbaijani president in a phone conversation for this plane crash because accident seems like took place in Russian airspace, and Russia feels itself responsible for that. But did this plane was damaged as a result of work of from outside influencer? And I believe avio company itself, as I reported earlier, and also Ministry of Transport of Azerbaijan made statements about it, that plane was, according to their information, was damaged as a result of outside influence. So there is, as far as I understand, there is these two main scenarios that are worked right now by investigation. One is, I guess, a work of air defense. Another is potential damage of this plane with fragments of the intercepted drone. Which one is, of course, yet again, it's up to investigation to conclude. This is my answer, dear friends. I cannot know what exactly had happened there, right? Also, Yaroslav Pelechek is asking, could you compare rocket artillery systems, HIMARS, Czech Vampire, and Tornado S from Brian Berletic, who is, of course, a host of New Atlas channel, great channel, by the way. And if by chance you are not familiar with this channel, under all my updates, by the way, in recommendation list you can see link to many channels that I follow, including New Atlas. And so from Brian Empire, and that they are satisfied with them. How does your army fights with the threat of vampires? Do Russian rocket artillery systems have still that setback that rockets have to be loaded one by one? I have not heard about HIMARS for a long time. Does it mean that their threat is successfully neutralized? Well, Let's try to answer to this second question. Well, when it comes to HIMARS, it is a quite capable multi-launch rocket system. Obviously, HIMARS missiles have range about 100 kilometers, and also HIMARS MLRS are used to launch ATACMS missiles, right? And ATACMS are ballistic missiles with a range of 300 kilometers, and they're potentially even more if upgraded. It is a capable weapon system, obviously. Hardly anyone will say otherwise. But, in my reports, probably, you hear many times about destruction of these HIMARS MLRS systems by Russian drones with Russian long-range strikes quite often, precise long-range strikes. I guess at this point, dozens of these HIMARS MLRS systems have been destroyed by Russian troops, but still it is an effective weapon system and somewhat comparable to Russian Tornado S system. Which one is better, or which one is more effective, HIMARS or Tornado S? I mean, it's up to military experts really to discuss this issue. Both systems are long-range weapons, relatively long-range weapons, precise weapons, and so they are somewhat similar, but yet again, when it comes to some technical details, it's up to military experts to discuss this topic. I guess mainly because they are somewhat comparable weapons, mainly it becomes up to, when it comes to measurement of their effectiveness, it becomes up to professionalism of the crews that are operating with these weapons. I guess that's the way it is. When it comes to Czech Vampire multi-launch rocket system, Vampire is somewhat comparable with the Russian Grad MLRS system, maybe with somewhat longer range, but basically Czech Vampire is Grad MLRS, and unfortunately this weapon system, this MLRS, was used quite often by Kyiv regime to conduct large-scale shellings of the Russian cities, civilian residential areas in Belgorod region, in the Kursk region. I reported about such strikes when it was happening. I would not say Vampire is anything extraordinary. It's a multi-launch rocket system compared to Grad, but it can deal big damage, obviously, especially to civilians, and that's what Kyiv regime was doing, unfortunately. And it is unfortunate that Czech Republic has leadership right now that are extreme Russophobes, and they are providing Kyiv regime with all these weapon systems. But yet again, I mean, what you're gonna do about it? But for me personally, it is sad to see that this Central and Eastern European, mainly Slavic nations, are acting on behalf of Western ruling class, participating in killing of another Slav people. I mean, I don't know, man. It's like if, to me personally, it seems like if, let's say, supporting one of the sides to, more Germans to be killed, I guess German people would be upset in that case, right? And sorry to to all the Austrians that don't consider themselves as a part of German-speaking family. Probably there are some like that, but that's how we see many of us, at least outside of Western Europe, see Austrians and Germans. They are relative nations, right? One family, I will say, and the same goes for Slavic people. And I believe Slavic people, all the people in this world, should be friendly, especially people that are belong to one big family. I hope I express my opinion well enough. So I had no more questions on Patreon. I did not see, I did not receive any other questions from on other platforms. So therefore, I will monitor chat now, and I will try to answer questions from chat. Then I will share some news, dear friends, some updates that are Russian media reported since my first update today. So I did saw question. So question Matter U235 is asking, Levan, BRICS is useless. Why is Russia restraining themselves because of China? China should look at Taiwan. BRICS is useless? Oh, sorry, dear friend, but I have to disagree with you. In my personal opinion, BRICS is a foundational stone of wow, what's happening here? BRICS is a foundational stone of emerging multipolar world. So, and dozens of countries are basically queuing in to become a member of the BRICS, right? And more countries are becoming receiving partner status, which is, I guess, will be, you know, main step before country will join BRICS. So this is my take, dear friends. I don't think BRICS is useful. BRICS is definitely major foundational stone for emerging multipolar world, and this process of creation of multipolar world is unstoppable in my personal opinion. Also, Matthew 235 is asking why you can't just nuke Lvov. Well, you cannot nuke city, by the way, isn't it? You just cannot do that. It is what it is. I don't think Russian leadership is even planning to use nuclear weapons, even on military targets. But whatever their discussions are among Russian leadership, there is definitely no discussions about nuking any civilian areas or cities, or that's you know, not in the conversation, right? You just cannot do this kind of stuff. And Matt is also asking, Levan, you are not reacting. I think that you are gonna say inaction. Well, dear friends, we should always keep in mind that we have information that is available in open sources, right? And Russian leadership has all the information from open sources and their classified one, right? And decision-making process based on their better understanding of their whole picture. So therefore, I mean, it is always easy to criticize government's decision-making process there, but we have to be, you know, objective, isn't it? If we really want to be up to date, let's say. So that's why I think Russia is winning, and Russia will win. Definitely, this proxy war that West is waging against Russia, against us, and you know, I guess time will tell. Time will confirm actually that restraint, even though I myself is quite often expressing frustration due to this constant restraint, I believe time will confirm that this policy was correct. Because Russia is winning, by the way, right? It's a Western ruling class that is in such a desperate situation right now, or at least that's how they feel, seems like, that they are resolving to these terror attacks now, right? That's all they do nowadays. Committing terrorist attacks and authorizing your regime to conduct terrorist attacks on Russia. And if that is not a demonstration of how should I say, desperation that the Western ruling elites are in, then I don't know what that is, right? So Russia is winning, dear friends, and therefore I guess this policy of restraint will be resultative. And by the way, after all, let's give a try to a peace, right? Before Trump was re-elected, he said many times, and his inner circle, members of his inner circle said many times that they would, they would like to end hostilities, right? They try to demonstrate that they are for peace. And even if I am personally are skeptical, and I am skeptical that once Trump is in office, Western ruling class will start de-escalating. But, I guess it does make sense to give a chance to a peace, right? Let's see, once Trump is in office, once his administration will take over in US, what kind of policies they will conduct. Maybe all of us skeptics are mistaken, and they will actually influence the situation in a positive way, and will try to de-escalate between collective West and Russia. You never know. So let's give it a try. And also, Matt is asking, Leon, have people in Russia lost faith in government? No, dear friend. Here in Russia, last time I saw results of social studies show that Putin had 78% approval rate. So it says everything, right? That number says it all. So there may be some frustration in society, some even anger that government is exercising restraint, but that does not mean that people that are somewhat frustrated are against the government now. No. People are in support of Russian armed forces, obviously, vast majority. We are talking about vast majority. And the very same vast majority is in support of government. Even if in some policies there might be some disagreements, right? It's a normal stuff, by the way. It's normal stuff. Let's once again, dear friends, hello everyone, and I guess I chose the wrong time for this live stream. Many members of our community who would most likely want to participate will not, because of timing. Usually I have live streams, Sunday live streams at 6 o'clock or even late at night at 9 o'clock. But today, as I said in first update, later on I will go to film in several more locations here in Moscow. All the installations for New Year celebration, and I will publish video first on Patreon in few days time, and then on YouTube and Rumble also. And hopefully community will find it interesting. And so, dear friends, I don't see any question right now, so I will go through news, if I may. Excuse me. This is a video of tragic incident that occurred early hours of this morning in South Korea when plane crashed. And according to latest reports that I see, more than 160 people are confirmed dead as a result of this plane crash. Few passengers miraculously survived. And let's hope more people. Let's hope media will report that more people have survived. Also, dear friends, this report today was some strange day, tragic day when it comes to aviation accidents. And for example, I shared this horrifying video footage of Air Canada flight 2259, which had a hard landing. As you can see, their engine has caught fire, and this is not all. Also, KLM's flight crashed after it bypassed runway at Oslo airport. This was also Boeing 737. Passengers were safe. There was no death as a result of this emergency landing. Although, of course, many passengers probably needed some psychological support, potentially some medical support due to some minor injuries. Also, this information is quite interesting. This is footage, by the way, of yet another US MQ-9 drone being shot down, intercepted by Houthi rebels in Yemen. I lost count of how many US drones Houthi rebels managed to intercept by now. I guess over a dozen at least. I see question from Don Zuger. Will the Ruskies take over Odessa? Russia will... Well, if this conflict continues, if Kiev regime will refuse to capitulate, if Western ruling class will refuse to capitulate, then obviously military operation will continue, and eventually Odessa, of course, will be liberated from a terrorist regime in Kiev, terrorist and Nazi regime in Kiev, and not just Odessa or Odessa region, but also Dnipropetrovsk region, Kharkov region, at least. So from Kharkov to Odessa, everything will be liberated, at least, by the way. So it all depends how long this conflict will continue. But Odessa is obviously a Russian city, and in my personal opinion, should be part of Russia. That will be historically right. This is my personal opinion, dear friends. So let's continue with the news. And well, dear friends, as I was reporting in earlier updates, previous updates, today on 29th, President-elect of Georgia was inaugurated. And so Georgia has a new president, Avalashvili. And therefore, of course, previous president, Salome Zurabishvili, Western asset, as I said many times, had to leave office. And even though she and other Western-controlled so-called politicians in Georgia was stating that they would not leave presidential office and they are only legit representatives of the government in the country, today Salome Zurabishvili left presidential office. This is the video of that moment when she is leaving presidential office, and this person, Avalashvili, is now president of Georgia officially. He was inaugurated. So even though Western assets in Georgia try hard to destabilize country and conduct regime change, they failed. And from now on, probably I would not be mistaken if I will say that Georgian society and the current government of Georgia managed to avoid total disaster that Georgia and Georgians will face if these Western assets succeed with their regime change in the country. Although, by the way, of course, they're not gonna stop. These Western assets not gonna stop. They will continue to their attempts to destabilize country, but without large-scale public support, they're gonna struggle with it, right? They're gonna struggle with it, and they are struggling, by the way. They're barely managing to organize demonstrations where just like couple of thousands of people are participating nowadays. And of course, in a country of 3 to 4 million, I mean, with support of like even 10 or 20,000 activists, you're not gonna achieve much. And by the way, not all of them are, of course, participating in these demonstrations. If you were monitoring situation in videos, you can clearly see that number of people were less and less and lesser as time go by, and well, they just have to face reality. They lost. They just lost. Once again, this is not the end of the story, because from these Western assets, anything should be expected, any level of provocations, including bloody provocations. So therefore, of course, Georgian society and the security services of Georgia, Georgian government should stay in high alert to make sure that people and country are safe. But it seems like Washington, London, Paris, Brussels failed to conduct regime change in Georgia, at least for now. And as I said, this is a video of inauguration of Georgia's new president, Mikhail Avelashvili, in the parliament building. And by the way, as I just said, nothing is over yet, because activists of Western-controlled so-called opposition were trying to block Rustaveli Avenue right next to parliament of the country. And especially active radicals and extremists were arrested by police. Everyone should stay on high alert in Georgia still, by the way, because as I said, from these criminals, anything should be expected. And when it comes to elections, presidential elections are taking place in Croatia, by the way. Today, I don't think there are going to be any disturbances in Croatia, because most likely next president of Croatia will be a Western asset, without doubt. So that is that. Let's I see some questions, so I will try to answer on the questions. So Wolf Dreams is asking, how do you think Russia will react to NATO's blatant act of war in the Baltic Sea, confiscating their ship over severed cables? Only Navy SEALs have deep diving ops capability. Well, I said from very beginning that I don't believe in these stories about cut cables under the Baltics. I think Western ruling class come up with this new false narrative to use it to basically introduce on the Baltic Sea some additional controlling measures and to push Russia in a region. I see arrest of Russian vessel as a extremely hostile step. One may argue act of war, as you mentioned, and now, I mean, if Western ruling class will after these trials that they are conducting with this false narrative in the Baltics, if they start thinking that they can use this narrative to mess around Russia and Russian fleet, civilian commercial fleet, or in other parts, hear any statements from Russian side. At least I didn't see in the Russian media, Russian segment of internet, any statements in regards to this arrested vessel. And the vessel was arrested by Finnish security services. But I guess Moscow will react on this matter. Yet again, it seems to me that the Russian leadership is focused now basically on negotiations with the new administration that will be introduced in US in after 20th of January. So therefore, I don't expect any strong steps from Russia from now to 20th of January. And after that, if we see further escalation from the West, I guess things gonna change very rapidly. And Russia will no longer exercise restraint in a way that it does right now. So therefore, on your question, how will Russia react on this current hostile action by Finland or NATO? I don't know. I don't expect any stronger actions from Russia, but after 20th of January, things might change very rapidly. And things might escalate big time if Western ruling class will continue current path of escalatory down spiral. That's how I see. Also, Matt is asking, Matt U235, Levan, did the Georgian government arrest Zurabishvili? No. I did not see any news about her arrest. She just left her. Let me check right now, by the way. Some media outlets, maybe there are some breaking news right now at this moment. But I don't think so. She left the presidential office as she should, and so I don't think she was arrested. No, Russian media is not reporting anything about that. So no, she was not arrested, dear friend. Let's continue. Although investigative committee might have some questions in regards to her and many other so-called leaders of the Western-controlled opposition in the future. That is a possibility, isn't it? Because after all, if a politician or anybody is acting under orders of the foreign powers, that is a treason, right? That is a treason. So if if security services in Georgia have factual evidences that certain figures among this so-called opposition were receiving orders from the West or from whichever country in this world, and if they can prove it, of course they should open criminal case in that situation and pursue with their charges, right? Because no one should be immune from a prosecution if they are committing treason. Howard there connector is asking, why is Putin treating Israel with their kid gloves? Well, Russian leadership was quite critical, isn't it? Quite critical about actions of Israeli government in regards to Palestinians and the Palestine. This is, clearly the fact, right? But when it comes to relationships between Russia and Israel, well, one should keep in mind that there are millions of our former fellow citizens that are living in Israel now and received Israeli citizenship, right? Many of them are in governmental institutions in Israel, and they have connections, right? And it's a complicated stuff, but as far as I can tell, since the collapse of Soviet Union, and even during the Soviet Union, relationships between Moscow and Tel Aviv was not really extremely hostile. One should keep in mind that Israel, Soviet Union was one of the countries, by the way, that allowed creation of Israel to happen, right? Many people don't even know that Moscow played key role in creation of Israel. Not just Moscow, Washington, London, obviously they play also a key role, right? But Moscow also was a part of it, and therefore relationships maybe not always was on friendly terms, but relationships were on working terms for sure. And I guess the situation is somewhat similar right now also, even though Russian political leadership is criticizing actions of their Israeli government and their militaries when it comes to treatment of Palestinians and the Palestine. Still, Moscow seems like tries to maintain these working relationships with Israel. This is a traditional approach, I will say. So in this regard, nothing has changed in principle for many decades. So sorry, dear friends, if I miss your question. Oh, let me check donation alert. I don't even know, dear friends, if donation alert still works. Last time I had a question or donation through this platform during the live stream was 125 days ago. So I don't know if it works still, but I will monitor periodically while I'm live. I'm doing this live stream, so that well, questions. Meter U235 is also asking. Well, we have a active member in our community. It is good. Matt is also asking, Levan, can you confirm this? The Russian government has said that the modernization of your aircraft carrier will be complete in 2025. Is it ready? Well, if you ask me, dear friends, Russian Navy should get rid of that aircraft carrier, Admiral Kuznetsov. That's my personal opinion, and I'm not military expert, dear friends. I guess in 2025, yes, aircraft carrier modernization of the carrier will be finished. But if you ask me, it probably does make more sense if Russia will invest in a universal assault vessels more, or helicopter carriers, right? Rather than classical aircraft carriers, because they are obsolete. At this point, I believe aircraft carriers are obsolete. So, in any major war between major superpowers, this aircraft carrier group's gonna be destroyed in a first hour, most likely. I mean, it only takes one nuclear strike, dear friends. No one gonna hunt these aircraft carrier groups with their submarines and the torpedoes and stuff, or missiles. No, it's gonna be one strike with nuclear weapon. That's it. So assault vessels or helicopter carriers, they definitely can be used more effectively, right? Well, I can see there are some technical issues with the internet. Sorry, dear friends, if there are some issues with the buffering. I'm streaming with VPN, so therefore, unfortunately, these technical issues seems like are unavoidable. So let's continue. I can see question from Nidish Kumar. Hello, Nidish. Hello, everyone, once again. and thank you for your attention. Levan is, as I said, we need our own BRICS shipping industry with insurance, and also we must develop together our own passenger planes jointly. Brazil, China, and Russia already have experience in it. I agree completely, dear friend. I agree completely. BRICS countries should cooperate in much bigger scale, and it's not just shipping fleet. It's not just merchant fleet, but as you mentioned, passenger planes. I mean, obviously, if major companies in aerospace industry of Russia, China, India, Brazil, other BRICS member states would cooperate in building up civilian aircrafts or transport aircrafts, of course they will ultimately succeed because they have a huge, immense market, isn't it? Right now it seems like Brazil is operating on its own, Russia is operating on its own. There are some elements of cooperation, but still mainly Russia is working on its own on developing new aircrafts, civilian aircrafts. China is doing the same. I guess works are in India also. Maybe India, historically speaking, did not have their, huge experience in building civilian airplanes, but I have no doubts that India has all the potential to be successful in this field. After all, India's aviaspace industry is building fighter jets now, right? And quite capable ones. So therefore, India definitely has expertise in this field also, and Brazil, by the way. Embraer planes are from Brazil, right? So Brazil has huge experience in developing civilian planes. And if just imagine if companies from BRICS member states cooperate in building passenger planes like European countries do with Airbus. They are destined to succeed in this case because Russian market, Chinese market, Indian market, market of entire world will be open, maybe with the exception of collective West, right? So I'm on same page with you on that, absolutely. And when it comes to insurance industry, of course, BRICS should have its own financial, banking, and insurance systems, 100%. That would not be dependent on the West. And by the way, you know that when Western so-called elites are saying Russia's shadow fleet, they mean vessels that are not insured in London. That's the only difference. Those vessels might be insured in India or in China or in Russia or elsewhere, but they are not insured in London. And that's why West is calling those vessels part of shadow fleet, because they used to be monopoly, by the way, and they still are somewhat monopoly, right, in this field of insurance. And this has to change. This has to change 100%. So, oh, Zarael is here. Hello, Zarael, and hello everyone, dear friends. Also, hello, dear friends. I have not seen you for a while. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I did not see you in previous live streams. Also is from Finland, is asking, Estonian marine ship Cardinal Kurwitz has been doing some very suspicious moves on their area when the cable incident happened. False flag operation? It could be, dear friends. I said, when this story broke, I said straight away that either this story is completely false, or maybe NATO member states themselves doing some dodgy stuff or false flag operations to blame Russia then, and to use this false narrative for further escalation. And either way, I guess that's exactly what is happening. Western ruling class is creating false narrative. They are test trialing this narrative in the Baltics now, and they, if they start thinking that they are successful with it, probably they will use the very same narrative or somewhat similar narrative, elsewhere also. So I'm with you on this matter for sure. And dear friends, let's continue with some more news, if I may. It's almost an hour, by the way. Time is flying, isn't it? Time is flying. And I had just 1 hour sleep, by the way, in the last 24 hours. And after this live stream, I have to, I will maybe wait 1 hour about her. And when it's evening time, I will go out to make some videos, as I already said, in several locations. And when I will publish this video on Patreon first and then on YouTube and Rumble, you will see that, I definitely try hard to make content from as many locations as possible. So there will be at least like 15 locations, different locations in that short video. I hope you will find it interesting. And so, dear friends, record 37 million tons of cargo transportation volume along the North Sea route have been reached by end of 2024, and this is a big deal. Obviously, this is big deal. Majority of the goods are destined from one part of Russia to another part of Russia, but there was a significant increase in transit through Northern Sea route, when it comes to foreign companies that are transiting their goods from global south to, let's say, Europe or other way around. So, Northern Sea route has a huge future, by the way, huge future. I have no doubts about it. Just give it another 10 to 15 years, and I guess Northern Sea route will be major transportation route in this world. Then I shared the video from Duran. As you know, I'm quite often sharing on my Telegram videos from channels that I follow. Also, I guess this is interesting news that the new authorities in Damascus do not want to Russia to leave Syria, as it could harm relations between the two countries. This was stated by their new leader there. And also, by the way, they don't, seems like, at least for now, these Turkish-controlled proxies, terrorist groups that are in charge of Damascus, seems like they are not that keen to demand Russian military bases to be withdrawn from Tartus and Latakia areas. I guess because of some agreements between Moscow and Ankara that most likely was reached maybe even before this terrorist offensive has happened in Syria, or after. I cannot know, isn't it? Nidish Kumar is asking, Levan, what is your opinion on Chinese made sixth generation fighter jet flight? Now USA can't say they stole our technology. Well, I saw videos. I shared their videos and the photos on Telegram and their Twitter X page. I still struggle to believe that this plane is a fighter jet because it's just too big. We all see videos where this plane, sixth generation plane, allegedly, is flying next to Chinese J-20 fifth generation plane, right? And J-20 is a huge plane, by the way, right? And J-20 is dwarfed by this new Chinese sixth gen plane, right? and therefore I struggle to believe that this plane is actually a fighter jet, because I mean, it looks to me more like strike plane, like potentially bomber, more like a bomber than a fighter jet. But who knows? Maybe I'm mistaken, because it's just so big. It could not be maneuverable, too maneuverable for medium or close range fights. Of course, platform itself can be used as a long range interceptor. It might have a like 10, 12, maybe even more air-to-air missiles in an internal bay, and operate as a long-range interceptor and shot long-range missiles up to, like, with range up to 100, 150, maybe even 200 kilometers. But J-20 does this. I mean, J-20, fifth gen fighter jet of China, is exactly the long-range interceptor. J-20 also I don't see as a really highly maneuverable plane. It's a long-range interceptor, right? So when you have J-20, do you really need another long-range interceptor? I don't know. That's why I think it's a strike plane. That sixth gen plane is a frontline bomber, kind of. Although, yet again, even though I love aviation, military aviation especially, I'm not military expert, isn't it? So therefore, hard to tell. But you have a good point. Now, probably U.S. military experts will struggle to say that China stole some know-how from U.S. Because this plane definitely looks like indigenous design and completely domestically built weapon systems. So, although who knows, by the way, who knows, maybe from outside that's how it is, but internally some parts may be copies from Soviet or Russian technologies. Some might be copies of US or European, some technologies in this field. But from visually speaking, this plane definitely looks like nothing else, right? There are some drones with such a design of delta wing design, but plane, such type of plane, I mean, French aerospace industry loves delta wings, right? They constantly build planes with such a configuration, but it's still something different, because they have stabilizers, like on the backside, right? And this plane, Chinese plane, has no stabilizers, nothing. It has it, but I mean, how you say it in English? Just a sec, dear friends. I mean, tail section, let's say this way, tail section of that plane is definitely looks like nothing we have seen. So it is impressive. It is impressive. Well done, by the way. I mean, I didn't expect China to demonstrate such a plane at this point. But who knows what else major countries have in developments, isn't it? What kind of weapon systems? Matt is asking, Lvan, I believe that Russia should keep their bases in Syria run by minimum personnel and let Turkey and their Americans deal with it. What is your opinion on this? Well, I don't know, dear friends. It's too risky, in my personal opinion, because even Russian Foreign Intelligence Service is saying that US and UK are planning terrorist attacks on Russian bases. And I'm afraid, and the US and the UK Secret Services are planning to use Islamic terrorists from ISIS to conduct such attacks, and they will probably. There will be provocations, there will be terrorist attacks on this basis, and I mean, is it worth to keep this basis there and under constant risk? I don't know. In my opinion, if Alawites and Christians in Latakia province, for example, will rebel, and if they will declare independence from Damascus, in that case, it does make sense for Russia to maintain bases there. But if Syria will stay as a colony of Turkey as it is right now, then eventually, I guess Russian bases will be removed from this failed state at this point. So therefore, it depends on calculus, isn't it? It depends on what kind of information is available for Russian leadership. If it will be safe enough, then probably Russian bases will stay. Otherwise, why would Russian military personnel risk their lives there? I mean, so my personal approach is, by the way, to be focused more on Russia. Russia first. I'm that kind of person, right? And so I'm not really that supportive of creation of Russian bases outside. Right? If necessary, one or two or several bases, okay. I mean, I can understand that, but not big fan of the idea to have bases all around the world. I mean, why? So this is my take on it. For now, it seems like bases are there to stay, but for how long? That's the question. Zarel is commenting F-117 debris was stolen back in Balkan War, and Israel sold US F-35 data to China. It is a cool looking plane, but I know it is not a hypersonic, and it's definitely not a fighter. Yes, I agree with you. I also don't see that plane as some sort of fighter. No, I mean, it's just too big to be effective fighter in the medium and close range. I mean, as a platform for long range interception, yes, it can be used, theoretically speaking, but yet again, when you have J-20 that does exactly the same role, long range interceptor, then why you need this new plane, right? It's just it's going to be a nightmare, isn't it, logistically, to have several similar type of several planes that are operating in same field. I mean, it's so I agree with you. And when it comes to F-117, yes, Chinese had their hand, Chinese secret services, I believe, on fragments of F-117, and rumors are that that's why US bombed Chinese embassy, by the way, in Belgrade at the time, to destroy these fragments of their F-117 that was shut down, intercepted by Serbians, right? And well, when it comes to F-35, I did not knew that Israeli side shared some information about it with Chinese. I didn't know about this, but things happen. Zarel is commenting, not the rumors. Yes, I guess that was the case, because I find it difficult to believe that US bombed Chinese embassy by mistake. I mean, no. Nidish Kumar is asking, what is Russia thinking as Bangladesh charges a nuclear power plant built by Russia with corruption charges? Well, Bangladesh is a difficult story, isn't it? while Bangladesh was an ally of India under the previous government, and I would see Bangladesh as an Indian ally at the time. Well, I guess it was making sense to invest in Bangladesh from Russian side, even to build a nuclear power plant. Although that was a too risky move, in my personal opinion. But right now, maybe some people in Russian leadership are reconsidering this this topic. I don't know. In Russian media, I definitely did not see any news about Russian nuclear power plant in Bangladesh, or about Bangladesh in general. Last time I see or read any news about Bangladesh was like maybe a week ago, when current leadership of Bangladesh asked India to repatriate her previous prime minister that is in India right now. And since then, I did not hear anything about Bangladesh, so I cannot give you exact answer what is Russian position in regards to nuclear power plant or corruption charges. But I would not be surprised if building of that power plant will be delayed indefinitely. I would not be surprised if for whatever reasons nuclear power plant in Turkey that Russia is also building will take far more time to go operational than than it used to, because of there's some potential issues between Ankara and Moscow. So Marina Schomaria. Gamer Dobat. Gamer Joba. Okay, Gamer Joba is hello in Georgian. My name is Hugo, living Belgium, and married with a Georgian woman. I guess this account is your wife's account so far. Could resist the pressure of Europe and the US. Gilotsov with the new president, and that Georgia so far could resist the pressure of. Oh, thank you for your comment, dear friend. And yes, I have to agree with you. So far, Georgia is definitely withstanding pressure, and hopefully it will stay this way. Because I said many times in my previous updates that Georgia is not in no position to survive another regime change by Western assets, by the way. Previous one was a complete disaster, isn't it? And if Georgia needs anything, is first of all stability and peace, right? Can you imagine? It is the first time since the collapse of Soviet Union when more than a decade Georgia had a peaceful life. Can you imagine that? There was always some turmoil in Georgia since the collapse of Soviet Union. And now under leadership of current government, that can be criticized for many things, but what is most important, first time, yet again I can see some technical yet again I can see some technical issues with the streaming. So units of Russian armed forces liberated the settlement of Novotroitska in the DPR. This is Pokrovsk sector of the front line. This information was confirmed by Russian Defense Ministry. I already showed you this video when these activists, pro-Western or Western-controlled elements in Georgia were trying to yet again destabilize situation in the capital, and they were trying to shut down Rustaveli Avenue, right next to a parliament building, but police was there, and you know, especially active radicals were detained there, I guess for a couple of hours. Then I shared the update of Russian Defense Ministry on progress of special military operation. I wouldn't go into details because it will take a longer time, and an announcement of this live stream. And so yes, that's about it. And I'm preparing, dear friends. Let me show you. This is a page that I have for when I'm working on the next update. I'm collecting here news that I find interesting, and then before I start recording update, I'm going through this news and they're picking ones that are most, in my opinion, you might find interesting. And so yes, I see a question from Nidish Kumar. Levan, there is a chance that Bangladesh and Myanmar go to war with each other as Arakan army took control of borders from Myanmar junta. Well, I did not know about it. Thank you for sharing information, dear friend. Well, I will pay more attention now because it is important, of course. There is unrest in Myanmar for quite a while now, isn't it? Civil war, basically. And we all know what happened in Bangladesh. So, is good to know. Thank you for information. I'll definitely pay more attention now to developments in both countries, in Bangladesh and Myanmar. That's for sure. Matt is asking, Levan, if you've seen Patrick Lancaster's videos. There are a lot of Georgians that despise Georgian dream. All of them are the next generation. How can the population survive such a divide? Well, I saw Patrick Lancaster's videos from Georgia. I mean, he is doing great work, by the way. And if any members of our community are not familiar with him or his channel, under my news updates in that recommendation list, there is a link to Patrick Lancaster's channel also. And well, Patrick Lancaster went to those demonstrations, right? I mean, he ended up. He was risking, by the way, because in some videos you can see how aggressive that crowd was, isn't it? Some members, at least, they were following him, and clearly they were, conducting provocation, right? Well, dear friends, in any such activity, whenever Western ruling class is conducting a regime change operation, you're going to see quite a number of youngsters, right? Young generation people there. And you know why? Because it is much easier to brainwash unexperienced people, right? Students that have not yet seen the life, right? And unfortunately, Western secret services knew perfectly well that they can relatively easily influence minds of these young people. And in some cases, or even in many cases, unfortunately, they are successful. And I believe there are thousands of young people in Georgia that really believe in the propaganda of the Western assets in Georgia, these so-called politicians, right? And this is unfortunate, but yet again, vast majority of public, young generation, old generation, vast majority is against these extremist forces that are controlled and financed and run by Western secret services, right? So-called opposition. And in 26th of October there were elections, right? There was elections, and until now no one provide any evidences that there was anything wrong with those elections. But ruling party, Georgian Dream, received majority of votes. That's it, really. Western ruling class may don't like it, but well, almost destroyed Georgia, by the way, after the so-called revolution in 2003, right? one should always keep in mind that it was these extremists that reignite civil war in Georgia between Tbilisi and Trinidad conflict with Russia in 2008, right? So people know all this stuff, and nothing to be said about thousands and thousands of crimes against citizens that that regime was committing. People know this, you know, and they demonstrated that they don't want to see such individuals in a position of power ever again. That's how it is. So I don't think society in Georgia are divided. They are small, loud group of delusional or misled people and Western controlled assets, right? And there is vast majority on other side. You can talk about the society being divided when it's like 40-60 or 50-50 or something like that. But when on one side is 70-80% or more people, right? And on the other side you have like 3 to 5, maybe 7% of radicalized elements. I don't think that is a divide that cannot be dealt. Harvard connector is writing that the new Chinese plane is a longer range hypersonic bomber. In my opinion, I don't know, dear friends. I will agree with you that it's most likely it is a bomber or strike plane, some sort of. I don't see it as a fighter jet. But when it comes to speed, is it hypersonic? I don't know. I don't think so. For Chinese aerospace industry, there was always like Achilles heel engines, development of engines, and that's why on initial stages, even J-20s were using Russian engines from Su-35s that China brought from Russia. I believe that was engines from Su-35. And engines based on reverse engineering of those Russian engines, right? Then now I believe Chinese aerospace industry is building its own engines that are somewhat similar to Russian engines that are on Su-35s. But I will struggle to believe that even though Chinese aerospace industry made significant progress in engine compartment, I don't think they achieve such a sophisticated level to build now engines for hypersonic flight of the planes, right? I don't know. So I will struggle to believe that that plane is hypersonic, because I don't believe China has a technology to build engines for planes that will allow them to fly hypersonic. This is a whole different type of engines, isn't it? This is not traditional engines that can achieve hypersonic speeds. It's a different type of stuff, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Chinese have reached that level of sophistication in engine compartment, but I don't know. I'm a bit skeptical of that. But when it comes to bomber point, I have to agree. It looks like a bomber, right? It's just too big. If J-20 is a huge plane, then this new 6th gen plane is like almost twice of the size of J-20, right? Especially when you take how wide it is, fuselage. And so I don't think it is a hypersonic, but I do believe most likely it is a prototype of some sort of medium range strike plane, stealth strike plane or bomber. Although yet again, theoretically speaking, platform definitely can be used for long-range interceptions, right? It's so big that it can carry in internal bay, I don't know, definitely more than 10 missiles, right? Long-range air-to-air missiles. That's how huge that plane is. But yet again, J-20s are exactly the long-range long-range interceptors. And when you have J-20, do you really need another similar type, long-range interceptor? I don't know. Russia has MiG-31, isn't it, as a long-range interceptor? And now Russia is creating next generation, according to rumors, by the way, Russia is working on next generation long-range interceptor. Some people in internet even calling it a MiG-41. There are some even graphics on internet how this plane would look like and stuff, although of course none of us know what will be designation of the plane or how it will look. But there are talks that Russia is building next generation of their long-range interceptor to replace MiG-31s, but Russia is not building similar plane to MiG-31. That next generation will be something completely different, right? If Russia started now building something that will resemble MiG-31, I mean, I will ask question, why? It is a quite capable plane in terms of long-range interceptions. According to some reports, dear friends, MiG-31s had the longest ever air-to-air interception during the special military operation. Although information, I guess, is classified, but I guess we will learn after this conflict will end if these rumors are correct. Some are suggesting that MiG-31s intercepted plane on far longer distances than 150 kilometers with their hypersonic or air-to-air missiles. But yet again, difficult to say, right? Because I just don't know for sure. That's rumors. Ramplancer is asking why their old people don't teach the younger generation of Georgians about the EU and the West better intentions, and why their government allow those EU protesters in their country. I don't know, dear friend. I just don't know. If it was up to me, I would definitely ban from entrance from entering the Georgia all the public figures from their EU member states that were not just visiting country, but they were participating in the demonstrations against government. This is nonsense, by the way. I mean, it's hard to believe that this is really happening. But I guess current government of Georgia didn't want it to further escalate relationships with the Brussels, right? And that's why citizens of EU member states from coming into Georgia and then participate in these demonstrations. I reported in my previous updates that according to law enforcement agencies in Georgia, 20 to 30% of demonstrators, especially active demonstrators, were foreigners, which is crazy, isn't it? But I guess just Georgian Dream Party was planning, trying to keep some balance, and they definitely don't want to ruin completely relationship with Brussels. This is also their case, I guess. Howard the dot connector says, I meant a launcher bomber, not the plane going hypersonic. Carrier of the hypersonic weapon systems. Yes, I mean, that's clearly a possibility. Yes, absolutely. It can be carrier of hypersonic missiles for sure. And China definitely has a hypersonic technology when it comes to missiles. Planes, I don't know, but when it comes to missiles, yes, and gliders and so on, yes, China definitely is a kind of pioneer even in hypersonic weapon systems, because I believe China was first country to introduce to their military, not just to test, but to actually introduce to our military, to deploy hypersonic missiles. Then was Russia. Although right now, if you ask me, I believe Russian armed forces have most advanced hypersonic weapons than that ever existed in this world. Nidish Kumar is commenting, my favorite all-time planes are SR-71 and their MiG Foxbat, so ahead of their time. Oh yes, both planes are super fast, isn't it? SR-71 is a spy plane, obviously. Blackbird, isn't it? Name is. It's a legendary plane, 100%, or no questions about that. And it looks astonishing, isn't it? I mean, from some sci-fi movie or stuff. And when it comes to Foxbat is a MiG-25. Some may call Foxbat MiG-31 also record-breaking planes. 25 still, by the way, holds a number of records when it comes to speed. So it was a super fast plane, by the way, of course. If it comes to planes, by the way, my favorite planes are probably from modern, from the jet fighters. I will say, F-14 from US jet fighters, and from Soviet and Russian jet fighters, I mean, Su-27, by the way, is Su-27 or Su-35. It's similar airframe. I mean, great looking planes, isn't it? And extremely capable. And I have to say, by the way, that Su-57 is probably most beautiful plane ever built. Most beautiful fighter jet ever built. I mean, it is much better looking than US F-22, in my personal opinion. So yes, I will say, I have to notice MiG-29 also. MiG-29, Su-27 or Su-35. Su-30 can be there also because aeroframe is based on Su-27, right? And Su-57 for sure, most wonderful plane ever builder. And F-14 Tomcat, by the way. I mean, I think F-14 Tomcat is a legendary plane. And I have, I like that plane maybe because, of Top Gun movie, but still, by the way, it's a wonderful looking plane, isn't it? That F-14. I know F-15s are extremely capable planes. Yes, Nidish Kumar is commenting MiG-29's climb rate is amazing as well. Yes, because of their engines, by the way. MiG-29 is a relatively small, lightweight fighter jet, and it has two extremely capable engines. So, I mean, it's a very capable, even though it's an old airframe, right? It's an old plane now. But with top level modernization, for example, MiG-35s. Russia is producing now MiG-35s in smaller quantities, but still, I mean, they are very well capable planes, by the way, So, MiG-29 in its modernized versions probably still has quite a way to go, like F-16s do, by the way, right? F-16s being modernized constantly, and they are also quite capable planes, like F-15s are, So, in US fleet, I will say F-15s and F-22s are most capable. F-A-18s, by the way. F-18s, I mean, many people are forgetting about F-18s, but I mean, they are Super Hornets, by the way, are great planes also. I mean, great fourth generation planes. Mainly carrier based, obviously. Zaral is commenting to other comment. It's great to see, by the way, when members of our community are interacting with each other. Wonderful. That's why I call it community chat. That's what it is. Exchange of opinions in real time. It's great. Yes, Zaral is commenting F-18 Super Hornet is gooder, but Legacy Hornet was crap. Yes, I don't know about original one, but you know, from what I read and what I hear from experts, including pilots of Super Hornets, and they have some channels on internet. I mean, should be very capable plane. Matt is asking, in one of Patrick's videos in Georgia, there was a very Russophobic anti-Georgian dream guy who wanted the Russian bases out. Then I asked her, why is it so bad to apologize to South Ossetia? By the way, Bizina Ivanishvili, founder of Georgian Dream Party, current ruling party, actually apologized to people of South Ossetia. He was, he was saying that this conflict between these brotherly nations, Georgian and Ossetian, should never happen, and I agree 100%. It was a tragedy for both people, obviously, and it was a good move. It was a good move. And when it comes to Georgia and these conflict zones, breakaway regions that Russia has recognized as the independent, South Ossetia and Abkhazia, in my personal opinion, I think confederation is definitely future that will allow Tbilisi, Tskhinvali, and Sukhumi to, go forward, basically to rebuild, to get united under umbrella of a new confederative state to overcome all their or majority of the obstacles that was created during the Civil War. And if confederation will be created sometime in the future, of course, that will be a huge step in terms of normalizing relationships between Tbilisi and Moscow, because I'm 100% convinced, by the way, Moscow would not be against if Tbilisi, Tskhinvali, and Sukhumi will work out ways to cooperate and potentially get united under umbrella of confederation, new state. Russia will just recognize this new state and that's it, right? And will assist. I'm quite sure, by the way, Russian side will assist all three parties there to overcome issues in every way possible, right? So, and when it comes to Patrick Lancaster's videos and some Russophobes that you might see there, well, I mean, Western propaganda, by the way, Western anti-Russian Russophobic propaganda maybe is somewhat new for Western world, but for countries which are under Western control for a while now, this is nothing new. Georgia is controlled by Washington since the Shevardnadze, right? Eduard Shevardnadze's presidency. And it's 30 years since then, right? So can you imagine all anti-Russian Russophobic propaganda that was generated in Georgia by Western-controlled elements in politics, in non-governmental organizations, in so-called media for these 30 years. There was constant anti-Russian sentiment, right? And therefore, unfortunately, generations grow up that never hear anything positive about Russia. And if those people or if people in those new generations were not really keen to learn history, to study history, probably they would be, crazy Russophobes. And some of them are, by the way. Some of them are, but in general, I will say majority of society in Georgia, even though may not be a pro-Russian or something, they are somewhat neutral because they understand that Russia is neighbor and it is necessary to keep good relationships with their neighboring countries. Majority understands that Russian economy is a huge market that will allow Georgian businesses, Georgian economy to flourish, right? Which will benefit ordinary people, yet again, right? And so majority in Georgia, I will say, are pragmatic, right? And they are not Russophobes or xenophobes, right? Majority I'm talking about. But of course, you're going to find some crazies that are extreme Russophobes or I mean, they are everywhere, right? As I said, for Western world, this extreme xenophobia and Russophobia may be something new. But for Georgia and other countries that are, controlled by the West for several decades at least, there's nothing new in that. Generations grew up on this hatred, right? Propaganda. And many fail for that propaganda. Dear friends, it's more than 1.5 hours this live stream is going, so if I may, I will end it now. Zarael is commenting, SU-35 might be a good joint venture for India and Iran, just saying. Yes, why not? I'm still hopeful that India will some way or rejoin PACFA program, because I believe in India's aerospace industry will benefit immensely if it will receive technologies of Su-57, but India definitely can join Su-35 program if there is interest in that. And that will be also beneficial in terms of share of technology, right? Iran can, I don't know if Moscow will be that open to share this level of technologies with Iran, but maybe in just few weeks' time, Moscow and Tehran will sign most likely this comprehensive treaty on partnership, and therefore. It is definitely a possibility that Iran might also join this project. I mean, checkmate, it's a I would say strange looking plane, by the way. I don't really like visual of the checkmate, but yet again, it's not about visual, it's about effectiveness, right? So let's see when first flights will be conducted by these planes, and what technical characteristics they will have. But it definitely will be, I'm quite sure, Su-35 going to be much better, much more effective than F-35, US F-35, because I mean, it is hardly possible that one will build a plane worse than F-35. F-35 is a total money laundering scheme from the beginning, and more and more people, even in US, by the way, are taking the same position, because more they learn about F-35 and all the issues and stuff, more they are realizing that this extremely most expensive military project ever in US history, in US fighter jet, especially history, is clearly something out of this world. Again, thank you all for your attention, for participating in this nice conversation, and many thanks to all the members of our community who will watch this video later on. Hopefully they will like our talk. And so, yes, this is it for now. If next live stream will be in the next year, so happy new year, everybody. Have a wonderful. Thank you all, and see you tomorrow. Bye for now.